All right, just a few things here before I get started with questions. Because it's been a minute since I've talked. Just an update with some of our injuries. Guys that we're anticipating back made good progress over the bye. Jalen Dalton, Arnold Ebiketie. We feel good about Elijah. Hopefully, see how the rest of the week goes for Elijah. We took Matt Hennessy off, so he started his clock. We'll see how that goes. So that's the good news with the health. The only one that we're still, we'll have to see as the week goes is Chuma Adoga. So we'll evaluate that the rest of the week. But a lot of those guys coming off the bye in a pretty good spot. So coming at the right time here for us, especially up front. In regards to, roster moves, we did make a switch at quarterback. So Desmond Ritter will be the starter. It's a performance-based decision, obviously where our circumstances are. Like I talked last time about trying to get over the hump in some of these close games and where we try to push the offense, we feel like it's the best decision, not only where he's at, but where the team's at, as we prepare to go down to New Orleans. So we signed Logan Woodside for depth at the quarterback. That move was made as Marcus goes and he's got an old chronic knee he wants to get evaluated. That had nothing to do with this decision. But he'll go, so he's not here right now, and we'll see how the rest of the week goes, but I anticipate him going to IR. With that, I'll open up questions.
Yeah, Coach, the background on the decision, what was some of the rationale after you all met to go with the big move at quarterback?
Yeah, well, a lot of things D-led, and that's part of our job. It's what I get paid to do as you're evaluating, right? So really in the last month or so, we've been in some of these close games, where we're at in the season, where I thought we were trending. We made a lot of progress offensively. Obviously, some things we've evolved and tried to push to in the passing game. And, we're close, but, we need to get over that hump. We feel also the growth from Desmond that we've seen. He's been one play away all season, but feel very comfortable where he's at right now to be able to handle the game plan to operate at full capacity. Other than, again, we would have adapted if he had to play early in the season. But feel really, really good where he's at right now. So both those things factored into it, and again, I wouldn't have made this decision. Didn't think it was in the best interest for this team, not only short term, but probably long term as well. So that's led to a lot of that and some other things there, D-led.
Sorry, on Marcus, you said it's Marcus who you anticipate going on IR, and he's.
I would anticipate that, yeah, and that had nothing to do with the move here, Josh. But there's like a lot of athletes, some chronic, nothing that's been an issue this season, but that's their prerogative, and so. As this happens, that's why we signed Logan on Saturday to make sure we have depth there. And we'll, once that decision is made, then I'll update you. But he's not here right now. So, in case, just giving you full transparency.
But he would have, if you had not made the switch, this knee thing wouldn't have come out. He wouldn't have.
Josh, I'm not a medical expert. Just telling you it had nothing to do with the decision. And we'll just see how the week plays out.
Not the first time you've had to have that conversation with Marcus. How did it go? How did he take?
Yeah, well, I'm in a different role. Obviously Mike Vrabel was the head coach then, and that's the head coach's decision. Obviously, I was the coordinator, so a lot different this time around. Completely different set of circumstances. So those are never easy for any position. Certainly, something as high profile as a quarterback that gets as much attention. Obviously aware of that as well, but you try to be truthful, and whether they agree or not, those are the conversations you have to have. And that's what we did and had it in person Thursday morning.
In terms of making this decision, at what point did you start to think that this would possibly be the way that you go?
Well, I mean, you're constantly evaluating where you're at, where your roster is. We've done this at other spots. Again, we all know what a big part of this league, what drives a lot of ratings and outcomes is the quarterback spot. So, I mean, you're always looking at it. Like I said, in the last month or so, been in plenty of close games. Again, it's things that we need to see evolve in the passing game as we've evolved this season, like the progress we've made in the running game. Again, something that we think can benefit us, certainly not only in the short term, but hopefully the long term. So that's what you're evaluating. Our objective is to win.
In terms of the playbook, he's a rookie. He's never taken an NFL snap in a regular season game. Do you have to alter maybe how much of the playbook would be available to
I think if we had to do that early in the season, we would have. I mean, that's what you do as coaching. You're always going to lean into the strength of your players, certainly the quarterback spot. I'm not rigid to that. But there's certainly now where he's at in the growth and improvement that we feel he's made. Not a lot right now, Michael. Otherwise, that factored into it as well. If I thought that we had to restrict him, that wouldn't be the best move. That wouldn't be fair to this team. So that certainly factored into it.
At what point did you start to maybe get comfortable with him being able to do it?
He's been one play away all year, and that's what you do. You adapt. No different when Kyle goes out, and you've got to have a backup plan in your game, how you want to finish the game, how you contingency plans, how you alter that. Certainly maybe some schemes or personnel you may get out of, but then as you have more time to prepare, you alter it that way as well. So, it's you're constantly evaluating. Like I said, he's been one play away all year.
It won't be one play away than when actually knowing you're going to have the job. I mean, it's a,
Sure. I mean, you got more time right now. I mean, where the circumstances changed. Ironic, where the bye came this year, late, where we're at. So a lot of that certainly, accounted for why we made the decision and where I think now is the best time. So, again, one play away. And then where he's evolved, I think he's taken a step in the last month.
he told me, I guess, in October that he was still struggling, maybe getting a little nuances of getting the plays in and playbook stuff. Was that part of it, too, that you just need to see that with more confidence?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm, not to be, sound like I'm being a smart aleck here, but that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yes, so he's telling you the truth. Like that's what you want to see as rookies. Some guys hit walls, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and what you have to prepare to be a quarterback and to be a backup quarterback. It's a huge job. You're not. So there's a lot that factor into it, and we've seen a lot of improvement from him, which gives you a lot more confidence. Doesn't guarantee anything on Sunday. We got to prepare well all week. We're excited about going down to New Orleans and playing the Saints, and it's a good opportunity for us as a team.
To that end, when you were kind of going into the bye week, in layman's terms, what was Desmond's homework for the week? I imagine you talk about having that extra time. What did that look like for him?
Well, there's some things that he and I talked about and that we wanted to work on, and so that's kind of what we did in those private conversations. But he was around all week, as was I, and we're excited to see what it looks like the rest of the week and on Sunday. It'll be a big challenge for us.
Talk about playing in New Orleans. That's a pretty big deal for a lot of guys, let alone a rookie quarterback in his first NFL start. How do you kind of, as the play caller, as the coach, make sure the moment doesn't get too big for Desmond?
Yeah, I mean, if I thought the moment was too big for him, I wouldn't put him out there. I think that's the one that gives me a lot of confidence. Again, it doesn't guarantee anything. I mean, it's his first start. I don't know. You can make a subjective argument when the perfect time is. If you make a move, and that's kind of life. If you like to debate, those are fun debates to have. But the reality is our circumstances changed where I felt we need to push this offense, and there's certainly a risk every time you make that if you take a step back. But we think got a lot of confidence in Desmond where we're at, and again, a part of it too is where the offensive line's at. Very different situation when we're early in the year consistently, and we got to continue to do that, which also makes the transition easier too. When your line's playing better, you're able to run the football. So that also factored into it.
What part of his game has taken the most growth the last month?
I think mentally, physically felt good, or we would have signed another guy to kind of, give us some a security blanket if we were worried about some of the physicals. But I think mentally, I mean, it's such a long season. I mean, like I said, it's like you get through a season, I feel like it's like 4 lifetimes. So here we are in like the fourth quarter of the season. But really mentally, Zach, I do, and that's what we expect and we anticipate translating, hopefully more success down in New Orleans.
You told us after the Pittsburgh game that every position, not just the quarterback, was going to be
Yeah.
evaluated during the bye. What else stood out during that evaluation?
Yeah, like a lot of stuff. We continue to make sure we got the best guys out there in the secondary, and same with the inside linebacker. And obviously we've had a lot of different guys play up front on defense. We continue to try to find the right lineup in terms of this game plan as we go through the week. We finalize that. That's also a huge factor. Who's up, who's down, part of the plan. Certainly we've got a lot of, different wideout spots, who can help the most, and part of this plan as well. So those we've been kind of running by committee anyways. So as I said, the quarterback's the biggest change there offensively.
And I'm sure you took a jump start on New Orleans. Anything drastically changed from when we saw them earlier in the year?
They're pretty consistent. The defense has been pretty good for a while. They got a lot of good veterans there. You know, offensively, as they've gone through, like every team's gone through injuries. They were in a close one Monday night. They had to bye like we did. We know it's a challenge. Anytime you play in a divisional game, anything. I mean, it's the NFL. You guys saw that's all. Watched football yesterday. We all know that. It's not to give a cliche here, but it's the truth. But certainly when you're in a divisional opponent, you know each other so well. Those are always big games, regardless of circumstances or record. So it's, like I said, we anticipate a great atmosphere down in New Orleans. Haven't been down there a ton, obviously last year, but we know it's lively down there. I'm sure it'll be loud. People will wake up early, I'm sure, and get their day started like they do down in New Orleans.
When you make the switch, is there any concern with that y'all, even though you're struggling, you're still obviously in the playoff mix, only a game out from Tampa? Is there any long-term thinking beyond this year that, given Desmond 4 games, sort of get you a head start to see if he's the guy long-term?
You know, there's a lot of things that factor. Your circumstance change, right, where we were a month ago as well. And I know the reality you're talking about, but we got to be concerned about what's more important. And I think that's lost. Like, you're certainly aware, but nothing matters unless we can go down and get a win down in New Orleans, and the rest will take care of itself. So our focus got to be in the present situation about going down on a road divisional game down in New Orleans, because all that other stuff doesn't matter if we can't go down there and get a win this weekend. So in terms of the long term, you're certainly hoping that it pays off, but short term, we would make this move. Wouldn't be fair to those guys that are in that situation, been fighting all year. So it's a lot of things factored into it, but got confidence in Desmond. And then again, there's risk anytime you make a move, but you got to be willing to take that if you want to break through and get out of this up and down, you know, inconsistency. And like I said, we've been in a lot of close games. We've made a lot of progress, but our objective is to get over that hump. And if it benefits us long term, that's a really good thing for us.
Forgive me if I missed this. Do you know when Marcus will return?
I do not, Josh. I'm just giving the information that I've got, and I was putting context of why we made the move with Logan, and also putting context that making the move with Dez had nothing to do with that. Right.
But is there some value in having Marcus or the guy who's been in this system back in the building to help Dez? And would you encourage him from that aspect?
You know, Josh, getting hypotheticals, of course, you want all your guys to be here. But again, guys got to make decisions based on what's the best interest from, you know, that's happened. It's part of in professional sports, you see it happen all over the place. And you got to have plans and contingency plans. And so the contingency plan was to get Logan in here, somebody I'm very familiar with that's been, you know, obviously in Tennessee. And if Logan's job on Sunday is to be the backup, if that's what happens, I'll have a clearer picture when we talk again on Wednesday to be able to give you hey, this is definitely what's happened, what's not. But at least having Logan in here gives you another option. You obviously got Felipe as well, but feel more comfortable. You've got to have contingency plans.
But you expect Marcus back this season?
I can't answer that right now. Obviously, if somebody goes on IR, I wouldn't anticipate him back. But until that decision has been made and finalized, now we're just talking hypotheticals. I'm not trying to be evasive. I'm just telling you the information as I have it.
In terms of other guys like Zach mentioned that you're going to make moves, are you replacing any other starters anywhere across?
We'll see how the rest of the week goes. So, again, a lot of it will be how we think the game plan is, some things that we want to see better from certain players, and we'll give them an opportunity to show us. And as we finalize the plan, and again, we'll let New Orleans figure that out on Sunday. But obviously that's the biggest one, because we're not going to sit here and play these silly games, hide a quarterback when you guys are out there not. We've got to prepare to get Desmond ready to start.
In terms of corner, because you mentioned corner and inside linebacker specifically, are those the two?
I missed D-line. I missed an outside linebacker, pretty much the entire defense. I believe I did. I don't know if I got that specific, but I said up front, we've rotated a lot of guys. I'll check the transcripts. But
you mentioned Elijah at left guard. I mean, if and when Elijah is good to go, does he move back there?
I'd anticipate that if we feel he's healthy enough, yes.
Understanding that your days are pretty full every week, is there anything extra you can or will do with Des for prep this week?
You know, it's based, every quarterback Josh I've worked with is different. Their process, obviously he's young, and that's been a big part of his development behind the scenes is finding that routine, and that's real. As long as this season is, the balance, the way he prepares. So a lot of it will be, Josh, will be some more things we do, but I got to also make sure, with Des too, that he's got his week in order. Again, that will be new to him, right? You guys are going to have to talk to him this week. I mean, all that stuff factors in. Those are different time commitments, and that's a responsibility of being a starter in the National Football League. So he's got to figure that out. and we'll certainly do everything we can to help them.
Where are some of the areas where the passing game could improve under this?
Well, obviously early in the year, D-led, there were certain games we didn't pick the ball up that much, but we certainly have, and recently, as you continue to evolve, because you got to improve, like I said, I've been pleased with the progress we've had in the run game. It's been pretty consistent. It doesn't mean anything. For Sunday, we got to go down and play well, prepare against a good front. But again, some of those are private conversations, but we need more production, things that we've tried to do. And it's not putting all the blame on him, but there's certain things we want to see, and we feel Desmond's got a chance to provide that spark. D-led.
After the Steelers game, everybody seemed to still have Marcus's back in the locker room, guys that we heard from. What does Desmond have to do to kind of win those guys over to you? What characteristics does he have that you believe he can do that?
Sure. I mean, look, I've got thankful for everything Marcus has done for us, right? I mean, this year, other than really the Cincinnati game, and we've been a grind. But again, we are. I mean, the fact are we are 5-8, right? Regardless of what's around us, it doesn't matter. I mean, we need to get over that hump, and that's what I said before. We got to find ways to get back on a winning track. Really the challenge for Desmond is you got to go earn the respect. Just because you name him a starter doesn't all of a sudden mean he can come in there like he's the new sheriff in town. I mean, he's a rookie, and he's got to, prove that he can be successful. And believe he will. But he's got to do it his own way, and it's going to organically happen. I think to go in there and just be himself. Everybody's got their own way. It doesn't need to be anybody but himself. But I think once he finds success, you can lean into it a little bit more. That's all we're going to ask him.
Anything else?
Good. Thank you.